नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते राधा स्वामिनिधि नाम्ने। नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिधि नाम्ने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य स्थाने। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास्ति गौर भक्तवृंद। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। Okay, so we last week the session was focused on the characteristics of the soul, because to answer Arjuna's concern that everybody is gone, we are causing death of the person, and that to answer that, Krishna mentioned about the eternity of the jiva and the various characteristics. So in that section, uh, 2.9 to around 2027 or so, there are two verses left which are more practical in nature. Those are verses 14 and 15, and we'll just cover those. Yeah, so let's read verses 14 and 15. More practical. Fruits of doing duty despite difficulty. Right? So that's the topic. We're taking material of His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu. Yeah, so the verse 2.14, the translation goes like this. It talks about eligibility for liberation. When is a person, when is a jiva is really eligible for liberation? The primary characteristic is that he has to tolerate dualities, namely happiness and distress. Yeah. Both are not permanent. Both are not permanent. And why do they arise? The dualities are experiences of jiva in this world, and they arise from the sense perception. Mind perceiving the all the senses. When senses come in contact with sense objects, senses are material, sense objects are material. When they get in touch with each other, these dualities are experienced by jiva, happiness and distress. You cannot stop it. In the course of experiencing duality, one should not give up his duty. Right now, Arjuna is going through a stressful reaction as soon as his eyes, one of the senses, perceived his relations. So Krishna is categorizing this as a duality experience by Arjuna. And out of um, one who doesn't perform his duty because of the experience of dualities, he certainly doesn't become eligible for liberation. Let's read the verse. Very beautiful verse. We should all try to memorize this verse. Okay, let's read a few times. Matra sparsastu kaunteya
मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय
sitoshna sukha dukkada
शीतोष्णसुखदुःखदा
agamapayino nityas
आगमपायिनो नित्यास्
tam stitikshasva bharata.
तां स्थितस्व भारत.
Yeah, anyone else? Please read. Shashwat.
हाय बोल प्रभु जी। मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कान्तेय स्थितो
Matra. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. We'll repeat after you.
हरि बोल। स्थितोष्ण सुख दुःखदा
Sitoshna sukha dukkada
आगमापायिनो नित्यास्
आगमापायिनो नित्यास्
तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत
तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत. Yeah. Anyone else want to read?
मात्रा स्पर्शाशु कौन्तेय
मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय
शीतोषणसुखदुःखदा
शीतोष्णा सुखदुःखदा
आगमापायिनो एप्पि
आगमापायिनो नित्यास् तां
संसतिष्ठाव भारत.
स्थितिक्षस्व भारत. Yeah. Let's actually read this very important. Yeah. Matra sparsa. Sparsa means what? Touch, right? Sensory touch or sensory perception. When it happens, when sensory perception happens, one will experience, Kaunteya means Arjuna, because of the sensory perception, Sitoshna, Sita Ushna. Sita means cold, Ushna means hot, heat. Sukha Dukkha. Sukha means happiness, Dukkha means misery or pain. Sukha Dukkha. Agama. Agama means appearing. Apayina means disappearing or appearing and disappearing. Agama paino nityas. Anitya. Anitya means not permanent. Right? So this, by the sensory perception, one will experience Sita Ushna, heat and cold. Otherwise, right, our Sita Ushna is just by the touch of skin with the atmosphere around. Sukha Dukkha is at the mental level, right? One is at the bodily level, one is at the mental level. So this can be experienced at every sensory level, right? At the lowest, at the gross physical five senses, and then mental, and then ego level also it happens. Sometimes we will be man apaman, right? Man apaman means insult and praise. That also happens at ego level. You feel, oh, somebody praises us, we feel, oh, we are good. Somebody, insults us, saying bad words, bad mouths us. We feel very ashamed or, very upset about the situation. So this is at the ego level. All of these are actually senses and they are going through ups and downs. So what Krishna is saying is, if you can tolerate this, okay, these experiences are because of the senses getting in touch with sensory objects or people around, people, events. These cause, these are the objects. And when the senses get in touch with these sense objects, you experience dualities. This is the word meaning duality. Those who are under the control of the modes of nature experience dualities. Right? As soon as their matra sparsha happens, sensory perception happens, immediately you experience these dualities. It's not that the experience cannot be stopped. It will happen. We'll through several examples how various people handle this. But in the discharge of your duties, your senses getting, experiencing these dualities should not cause you to stop your performance of duties. See, such a powerful lesson. So we can apply to our own life. At what times, for example, we want to wake up in the morning and chant, right? But our senses distract us. They say us, oh, just sleep 10 more minutes. You're very tired, you slept late, you had a lot of work. So we will try to sleep. So like that, we have spiritual duties as well as material duties. Yes, we are Sometimes we are one way or the other. Like we may be totally focused on spiritual life, neglecting material duties. Don't perform your duties properly, deliver your duties. Don't take care of your health. Don't take care of your work, which is also not good. On the other hand, sometimes we get so busy at work, we don't have proper focus on spiritual life. So we have to balance. We should not get too much distracted by it. Somebody belittles us or insults us. We think so much, we compose a big letter on, you know, on how you want to respond, or you write an email and respond on, why they are wrong. We spend so much energy. So what Krishna is saying is, don't spend too much energy on that. Yeah, do whatever is necessary, but don't get bogged down by it. This middle world is a place of dualities. You cannot avoid. If you try to avoid, and in the process you start building too much, accumulation. Like Sitoshna, people build fans. Of course, you need it. And similarly, like to overcome these dualities, if you start focusing alone on that, you may spend too much energy, and that may take away your main focus, the spiritual life. You see, it doesn't mean that you don't take care of it. You take care of it, but understand that these are dualities. I have to be focused on my duty, uh, and the real goal is to achieve liberation from this material existence. That is the real goal. We should not get distracted from that primary goal in the process of handling the dualities of the material world. So a lot of people get distracted. Their whole life is spent in dealing with the dualities, in fighting with the family members, or insults, or court fights over properties, or some are the other problems of this world. We should not get too much sucked into this material existence. Material world is compared like a house that is burning or a forest that is burning. Yeah. That's why we sing Samsara Dava Nalalida Loka, right? Every morning. This is a place of burning. If the place is burning, suppose you are in a house, the house is burning on all sides. Do you worry about who insulted you? Anybody? Do you want to worry about who is talking what to you? Whether they're angry at you or upset with you. Do you care for that, or do you want to somehow get a ladder, get on top and jump off, right? So this material world is such a place you cannot, without you asking, fire will start somewhere. You might be thinking, oh, everything is nice, but suddenly there is fire in your life, in my life, everybody's life. Nobody is spared in the material existence. Okay, nobody. There is no special soul, including Pandavas. They all had to go through their pains. All of a sudden, there is a health issue, there is an accident, there is a death in the family, uncle or auntie, whoever. It's always there. It just churns all the time, and gives new surprises. We should not get bogged down by it. It's easier said than done, but the lesson through this verse is very deep. I want us to really deeply think about it, because there are a lot of practical applications for our own life, right? In work, apply at your work, at your own personal sadhana, everything. So that's why I'm focusing on this. So we have to understand, these are very basics, fundamental principles, fundamental underlying ground for real spiritual life. And we are discussing those topics, right? So we have to nail it really in our own life. So we have to reflect. Am I getting, is if something is bothering you in your life, right? Something is too much, causing mental disturbance, whether it is thinking about your work, or thinking about your family in India, or whatever. Try to see what you can do to address that soon, so that it is off your mind. So that is one way to apply this wisdom, right? because that shouldn't be the focus, and that should not distract from your performance of both spiritual and mundane duties of this world. Yeah. So now here, okay, let's go to the slides. Yeah. So here we see there are prescribed duties for various varnas. They existed in the past very clearly. Even in today's world, there are semblances of the same duties. There are 4 varnas. The first one is Brahmana. Brahmanas are generally, teachers, or uh, those who impart knowledge to others. And then there is Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas who take to the protection of the world or people around them, right? And then there is Vaishyas, right? Who are mercantile community. And then there is Sudras. So it's like, teachers, administrators, um, there is a word Tata, T-A-T-A, teacher, administrator. I'm trying to say what is the third T. And then there is artisan. Artisan is the workers. Traders. Yeah, traders, teachers, administrator, traders, and artisan. That's how you can easily remember for Tata. So in this current, in today's world, there is again teaching community in the teaching class, and there is administrative class, and the protection giving people could be admirals, or navy, these forces that protect the country. And then there are traders who make business, and there are artisans or worker class. So these categories exist, and all of them have specific duties. The department of police, or navy, or these people are designated to protect the country at any cost. If suppose the admiral says, oh, the force of Pakistan is very strong, we are going to buckle down, let's protect ourselves first. The whole country is at risk. They cannot do it. It's their duty to protect the country. That's exactly what Arjuna is saying. Oh, as soon as I see my family, no, I can't fight anymore. You see, like, if suppose an admiral sees his own family man from the other side in Pakistan, if he stops saying, oh, today we are going to be a little bit soft on Pakistan because the other side has my relations, it's not going to help the country. So one has to perform his duties irrespective of whatever dualities one may experience in performance of his duty. Yeah. So similarly, every class of people have to perform their duties, right? Yeah. So what happens when one performs his prescribed duties? They fulfill material desires in a regulated means, and then gradually detach one from the bodily concept of life and allow him to rise to the platform of knowledge. When one performs his duty sincerely, whatever it is, whether you are a software engineer, or a driver, or a teacher, or a trader, or a policeman, doesn't matter. If you perform your duty sincerely, the duty teaches one to get detached from the bodily concept of life, right? So you get realizations over many years of your sincere service. You understand, yeah. So you get detached. So, and naturally you attain the knowledge, platform of knowledge. So one should not give up his duties. So Arjuna in this verse was addressed as with 2 powerful words. One is Kaunteya, second is Bharata. Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya. So Kaunteya signifies his relation, his mother side relation. Mother Kunti. See, your mother, she had tolerated when she lost her husband in the jungle. She had to come back to the palace. Ruled the palace is currently under the caretaker rulership of Dhritarashtra. He's only caretaker. He's never made king. Caretaker king Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra was very envious towards Pandavas, the children as well as Kunti. It was not an easy time for the small children Pandavas and Kunti. It was very difficult. And they had to go through a lot of challenges, insults, and attempts to murder. All of this happened to Pandavas and Kunti. In spite of all of that, she tolerated all of that. See, your mother had shown great example. What about you? Right? You come in a great family, you come in a great heritage of Mother Kunti and Bharat Maharaj from your father's side. So Pandu comes under the family lineage of Bharat Maharaj, after whom the country is named Bharata. Our country is named Bharata because we come under the lineage of the great king named Bharata. So he cannot. So one should not avoid fighting. When he comes from a great heritage. So Bharata, we'll discuss that later. Yeah. So there is this beautiful verse in Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami, one of the Bhakti literature. So in that, there are 4 Vegas. Vega means urge. We all have urges. And the urges have surges sometimes. Surges means, for example, you are very hungry sometimes. Hunger is an urge. You cannot stop. You have to fulfill it. But at the same time, when these urges come, right? What are the urges? Vacho vegam. Vacha means words. The words that we speak, they have to be sometimes tolerated, or one should maintain decency in his speech. Vacho vegam. The urge to speak. Sometimes we get so mad at people or so angry at situations. We speak, very harshly, and that may break their hearts, right? And in fact, our tongue has no bones, right? Tongue has no bones, but it can speak words that can break hearts, and sometimes the people can come and break our bones also. It doesn't have bone, but the words it can speak can break our bones if we don't speak properly. It happens many times when people lose, um, uh, loosely speak, and that breaks families forever. So one has to control his vacha or vacho vegam. Manasaha. Similarly, manas means mind. A mind hankers for so many things. It's the repository of so many past impressions and desires. See, this guy has so many desires of buying certain things or being with somebody else or buy this, that, whatever. So mind is filled with so many desires. In the materialistic life, it is mostly all about sensory desires, right? So one has to control mind as well. Mind has urges. When mind calls you, get that, you don't buy it, right, immediately. You have to make proper judgment with respect to mind's urges. Krodha. So similarly, somebody see this guy, he's so angry, his program is not working. He might be working at Amazon. Or Microsoft, wherever. So So krodha also is another urge. Sometimes you become so angry or mad that can cause you may start speaking very badly to your colleagues or to your manager. That will break your relations in the team. So one has to be very careful. When urge of anger comes, one has to tolerate, right? Udarapasta. So this guy is eating like you know like there is no tomorrow, right? So urges of the belly. So there are these three senses. One is tongue. Tongue like to taste the best tasty foods, right? Belly and genitals. These three are in line, tongue, belly, and genitals. Genitals seeking the opposite sex, and tongue seeking tasty food, belly seeking desire to eat more. So these urges, vacho vegam, mind, speech, mind, and anger, right? And of course, there are three more. The tongue is for eating, belly for again uh, desiring to eat more, tongue for taste, belly for eating more, and then the urge of genitals to opposite sex. So these are all various urges that one has to control, right, to really achieve if they want to focus on the path of spiritual goals, right? So one has to focus on tolerating these dualities. So we're just discussing where dualities come upon us, right? Vega Sahishnata is one principle that will help us get out of this dualities, experience of dualities in this world. And then there is, yeah, yes, Shashwat, yeah.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Mm.
Prabhuji, what do we mean by control these urges? Like the fundamental nature itself of urges is something that surfaces not in your own perception of um, sense, right? So,
Mhm.
unless we have like something higher to perceive or higher to taste, these
Mm.
urges is
They are natural reactions, right?
uh, what I was trying to ask is more than natural, it's more like involuntary, right? Like it's not
Mm.
in our sane
Yeah,
state of
that's
mind
what
that
I
we
mean.
would react. So,
Mm.
how do we perceive this control of urges without?
Very good point. How do we really apply this principle? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Because logically, if you think what you said is 100% right, no one in the same
mm,
state of mind will ever abuse or indulge in these things.
yeah.
The whole thing is that it overrides your senses, right?
Mm, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what we are trying to, achieve through the practices that we do. The chanting of the holy name, eating prasadam, these are the inputs to our mind and intelligence. Now we are learning about this, right? So you understand this. So next time, it's not that we are never going to be uh, fell by these Vegas, we
Mm.
will be fell, but then you learn from it. You would be falling for it less next time. You grow through it. You have knowledge, you have experience, you are practicing, spiritual life through sadhana. All these are going to aid you to get out of it slowly. It's not going to be one day change. Okay. First is
Mm.
to have this knowledge. Second is to understand and focus on spiritual life. Mentally cut these dualities. Mentally means understand, okay, yeah, whatever, it will happen anyway. These
Mm.
dualities, I'm going to go through it. There is no way I can stop. I just have to tolerate. So you understand the principle of tolerance, and you will improve over a period of, you don't need to be disappointed that, oh, I again succumbed to this. I fell down for this.
Mm.
It's a gradual process. It will take years to get over it. But we are on that path. If you continue your spiritual life, you start, taking prasadam and chanting every day. If you do those positive things, this will slowly, become our second nature. The spiritual life, then we are able to handle these situations better. I can see in my own life over the last 20 years since I've been chanting, I can see how my reactions have changed, over a period of multiple years. It's gradual. It's not like my fundamental nature is not going to, go away that easily. But I have seen improvements, over a period of. We can all see that actually, naturally that happens. It's a gradual process, right?
Right.
Yeah, makes sense.
Super. Yeah, I was asking that because when we learn from you and other senior Vaishnavas, the path and processes are clear. Um, it's when there is like some sort of balance that's required when the senses are constantly exposed, right? Like
Mm.
we have so many other duties and activities that uh, are distracting in the mind, and then there is also a sadhana that should keep you grounded. So it keeps feeling like you go back to square one, where okay, you know what's right, you keep using it as uh, a north pole to guide you towards Krishna, but then there's equal magnitudes of distractions and uh, other activities.
100% true. What you're saying is 100% true. See, we cannot measure our progress on a day-to-day basis. Just like,
Agreed.
uh, you know, um, just like if your money is in your bank account, right? So money
Mm,
bank pays only say 3% or 4%.
mm,
And if you look at your account on a day-to-day basis, it won't change much. But over a period of multiple years, you would see a growth, like say 20% or 10%, whatever,
mm,
right?
mm,
So similarly, you may not know how the practices that you're doing, like chanting and eating prasadam and daily prayers that you're
mm,
doing, or attending class regularly on a weekly basis, so this is actually affecting your mind. Even though you may not realize today, it's going
mm,
in your head and it is there. It's not going to be gone. You are
mm,
thinking about it, you are, contemplating on it. You may not see the change tomorrow. You may not see in like a month, but it will get nailed inside your mind. And sometime at some point, yeah, you will have a Yahoo moment and you have actually, oh man, I used to be so angry at these kind of things. Now I don't have it. No, at least I'm protected. In my mind, I used to have so many thoughts now, but now I don't have it. So
mm,
I could see some of those changes in my life. I'm sure many others would experience the same,
mm,
but it will happen. It's just matter of time. We just keep to the process. You know, understand this is process given by Guru Parampara. They have gone through and experienced, and it worked and
mm.
I'm in that path, so it should work as long as I stick to the process sincerely. So I don't need to worry if even if the dualities overcome me on a daily basis, but I know I'm on the right path, right?
Makes
If
sense.
your money is in the good bank like Morgan Stanley or it is safe. It will whatever they promised it will grow as per that rate, right?
Mm,
So
mm.
you just need to tolerate as far as possible, right?
Makes sense.
And also contemplate, okay, how am I doing? We need to also reflect. For spiritual growth really comes when we don't just do things mechanically but also reflect. Like today we are learning this, how can I apply in my life, right? So if we
Mm,
should some of that reflection and real Krishna is working through our life. He's as Paramatma in our own heart, and he's watching us, and he's going to give challenges according to what we can take, and
mm,
as and when we grow, he will take you to the next level. You know,
mm.
so like that. So he's a constant guide in our life.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah,
Thank you, Hari Krishna Prabhuji.
yeah. Very good. So Vega Sahishnuta. So these four urges we have to control. And then there is Dvandva Sahishnuta. Vega Sahishnuta, Dvandva, dualities. In summer, it is very, very hot. We all need fans, right? Especially in India. You see this fan. And then you see in winter, it's so cold. This guy is shivering here. And then Sitoshna Sukadukkada. Sorry. Sometimes a person will insult us, is insulted, or somebody, man upman, they praise us or sometimes insult us. Sometimes, you become happy or sometimes you become sad. These are all dvandvas of this world, dualities. And all these dualities are experienced by what? We discussed this so many times so far today. All the dualities are because of what getting in touch with what? Anybody?
Material senses with material objects.
Yes. Material senses. For example, sun's heat touches our body, then you feel heat. Or winter coldness touches our skin, we feel coldness. So all the dualities you can simply categorize as senses coming in touch contact with sensory objects. Understand these are impermanent, just like summer is going to be there, but how long? It's just a few months. So if you are always, sometimes people speak about, oh, it's so hard, and they spend a long time discussing about these topics, or sometimes they discuss about how they were insulted in the office or how they were insulted in their family function, things like that. We should not waste time on dvandvas of this world discussing. We should just dvandva sahishnuta, just move on, don't take sides of people, to speak the truth and move as keep your life simple, and don't get too much entangled in the material dualities. They are going to be there whether you try to solve it or not. For others it will be there. Try to help, with genuine heart. Your dharma is to always to help, not to just ignore people, but just try to do what you can at your best and move on. Don't get attached too much or get bogged down by it. Okay? So these are going to be there. You just need to tolerate, develop the thick skin, understand this is all for, and Krishna is giving all these experience so that you understand this world is a place of dualities, and you want to really go back to the place where you came, where you really belong, right? Spiritual realm. In the Bhagavata Purana, there is a great story of one great soul called Jad Bharat. This is the Bharat Maharaj, after which our country is named Bharata. Hmm? So this Bharat Maharaj, when he was a king, he renounced very early in his youth, like in his 50s or so, he retired from his material life and focused on spiritual life, meditating on Lord Vishnu. Unfortunately, he got distracted in while trying to protect a deer, and his thoughts were so focused. At the time of death, he was only thinking about the deer and becomes a deer in the next life. But fortunately, in the deer's body, he was given the memory of his past life, because he was already at a very high stage of spiritual life. He crossed the sadhana stage and he was at bhava stage. Bhava stage means you are constantly able to connect with Krishna, and Krishna is reciprocating with you on a continuous basis. From that stage, he fell down, now taken deer's body, and in deer's body he was remembering, and he was always with with a hermitage, associated with the hermitage, eating grass only available in the hermitage, trying to hear the lectures even though he doesn't understand. But he led his life very, very purely. In the next life, he is born as in a farm community as again his name was called Jada Bharat, but he was tagged Jada because he this time when he from the very childhood he is self-realized. Why? Because in his dear's life he led a pure life. At the time of death also he led his, but in the deer's form of body one cannot get it perfection. So he gets a human body again, In the human body, from day one, he is very cautious. He knows he fell for dualities in the previous life as Maharaj Bharat. This time he doesn't want to give any chances. So he had many brothers. They are, he lived a very detached life in this form as Jada Bharat. He had a very strong, stout body. He wouldn't get involved in any family affairs. He would behave like a foolish person in the home, just to not get dragged by dualities of the material world. He doesn't want to claim his property, or doesn't want to get entangled in any of the material dualities. So one time, so he's now grown up. One time, the king of the country by the name Rahugana, Prabhakar.
So shouldn't he be actually like doing his duties with detachment instead of not doing them at all?
Yes, he has to do, but he has a specific experience, and he is born self-realized. He is very different from most of us. For him, it is okay because he is already a liberated soul. For a liberated soul, there is no duty, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. But for us, who are still not there at that level, where we still have desires to fulfill, right? We have to perform our duties. And Krishna also
Okay.
clarifies, even the one is liberated, one is still okay to perform his duties. But Jada Bharat is a special case. He had already done his duties as a king and had gone through the shocking life of, uh, you know, the deer. So he is overly cautious in this life. Okay. And he is liberated from his very birth. So King Rahugana, I hope that's okay, right, Prabhakar? We can discuss more, as
Yeah,
we.
yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So King Rahugana, when once he was traveling uh, in the kingdom, in the forest actually, they needed one extra person to carry the palanquin, and the soldiers go around and they find Jadabharat available there, who is just carefree. So Jadabharat's duty was to be like a scarecrow in the farmland. That was the duty, because he wouldn't, any duty is given, he, because of his state of liberation, he would not really focus on that. He's in his own spiritual realm, always lost in spiritual life. So they only gave him the duty of a scarecrow. Scarecrow means if crows come, or any animals come, he would just run them away. That was for the farmland. So that was the duty. So they found this Jad Bharat in the forest and asked him to help Rahugana. Even though he's a liberated soul, he didn't mind, okay, maybe I have to go through this experience, let me go. And he just goes there and he carries the palanquin. While he was walking, he would look at some ants on the floor and he would jump over the ants, and then that would cause a lot of disturbance. The king started feeling dualities, ups and downs, and he shouts at Jadabharat saying, "Oh foolish man, what are you doing? You are causing so much disturbance to your king." And then Jadabharat says, "I don't want to step on the ants, their life." And then he speaks. When he opens his mouth, he speaks about, his consciousness was clear to Rahugana. He speaks about, okay, today now you are a king, but tomorrow you don't know who you will be. He speaks about soul and all these concepts. The king was, completely, um, you know, completely understands the state of Jadabharat, and he comes down at his and falls at his feet and takes it as advice. Yeah. So that is it. So the main lesson is how to stay away, not disturbed by the dualities of life. And then, so because you are coming in the lineage of King Bharat, So who has shown extreme tolerance, you should also be like that Arjuna. That was the lesson. And another incident happened in his life. One time, he was, doing his duties in the farmland, and there are many, many Adivasis who come and pick him up and take him and feed him nice food stuff, give him bath, and put nice clothes and put tilak. All for what? They want to give him as Balidan to Mother Kali. Kali. Uh, that is supposed to bring good to their community or whatever. And so they are about to chop his head, at which time Mother Kali comes out of the the deity form, and she comes and she punishes all of them, cuts their heads, and she speaks about the greatness of Jadabharat and how he's a liberated soul. Yeah, so for Jadabharat, he just accepted whatever comes. I'm not forcing it. If somebody were to make me eat nice food, I'll eat. Somebody were to kill, let them kill. It's up to them. That was the state, and in a way, you can see how a mother should took care of him, right? So, so one should not give up his duties. One should continue to perform, not worrying, not feeling fearful, and God is there to protect one, right? So that's the lesson. So these are two people whom Lord Krishna invoked to remind Arjuna about his duties, how he should tolerate. And this is one more, right? So Vega Sahishnuta, Dvandva Sahishnuta, the urges one should control, the dualities one should control, and then Paramata Sahishnuta. Paramata Sahishnuta means tolerating the opinions of others. Sometimes in office, somebody else may come up with some idea, and we may not like it, right? And that will cause this is tolerating at the ego level. So if you see, one is at the sensory level, one is at the mental level. Now this is at the ego level. One should tolerate. One should tolerate opinions of others. One person, see here, you see Donald Trump doing all these jumps up and down in fights during presidential election. So one should tolerate opinions of others, right? Otherwise, there will be fights, that will never end. Yeah, yeah. People become para utkarsha sahishnuta, tolerating the progress of others. This is another important principle, right? People always try to compare with others. Like here, Dhritarashtra is comparing with his brother's children. One should never compare, right? So for this point, for this Paramata Sahishnuta, one should understand that Paramatma is in the heart of everyone. And Krishna inspires and gives ideas in different ways to people. So we should not really, think that we only have the best ideas. Okay? So one should be open to hearing from others, learn from others, and understand that they have their own opinion, I have my opinion. Let's see what we can learn from each other. That's how we should see. Similarly here, and based on one's own karmic sanchit karma, one has different achievements. Everybody has, they come with different bags of karma from their past life, past experiences. So there is no need to compare myself with my colleagues or my friends. And if they are growing better than me, understand that it is Krishna giving. Whatever one gets, it is only through Krishna. Nobody else is giving anybody anything. So it's all given by God. So one should tolerate progress of others. Para utkarsha sahishnuta. So this is another fundamental principle, right? If you want to really grow in spiritual life, one has to really take care of this, Yeah. Yes, Sanal.
Prabhuji, in regards to comparison, how do you respond to situations when
Hmm.
somebody else compares you to someone? Like you are not yourself comparing,
Hmm.
but they are
Sometimes,
comparing.
sometimes parents compare. See that
Parents or managers, they compare you. So
your managers at office also look at him. He's doing. He's focused on that. Now you feel dejected. Yes. So we take that as yes. Take it positively. Maybe there is some lesson there. There is something that you can learn from the other person. If I'm the person on the receiving end, I will. It's not easy to say. It's easier said than done. But there are two cases, right? One is the other person is not really doing good. He might be showing off and he's getting all the prize. Okay. And the other case is where there is something really genuinely good with the person and you can learn. Both cases are possible, correct? So let's take the first case, right? Say the other person is just showing off and not really doing their duty, and the leaders are getting impressed, and they're giving a lot of attention to them, right? So that's the first case. So in that case, you don't need to really worry because you know you are doing well. You continue to deliver the best, continue to do your duty properly without getting distractions, and doing the best of what you can to your ability, and see what he's doing, and understand how you can improve from what you are doing. That's all. You don't need to do anything on the first case. Second case, where the other person is really good, let's be open and see what you can learn, or what you can you can go and ask that person, hey, you're doing this nicely, can you share some ideas, tips on how I can improve? I'm actually struggling in this area. Maybe it's an eye opener. Sometimes our growth triggers come from very negative situations. Almost people who have done anything great in their life, they had gone through very negative experiences. People who have gone, just chill about, nothing much in their life, they are not really great achievers. There are ample stories in history. Look at Pandavas. They had to go through so many challenges. Even today's world, there are many people who have come from very small simple backgrounds, you know but they had learned through insults, and they have grown through all of that, right? Just like a diamond wouldn't shine in its original form. It has to be chopped in so many angles to really bring its the originality, the original beauty of its original existence, right? And how do you the diamond has to really tolerate so many hits on its body, correct? Then only it really shines like Kohinoor, right? So similarly, take everything as a learning experience. Hmm? This universe is a university. That's how you should see. Not just your university where you get material education. Just this universe, you know, is a place of learning. Every day, every minute, every experience is a learning. One who sees in that spirit, there is always something to improve in our life. Okay, we may not get the learning right away, but at least you are in the um, right direction, right? Yeah, it makes sense.
makes sense, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah, so tolerating inconveniences. You see here, mother is cooking in the kitchen, even in the hot summer. It's very difficult in May and June in India, very hot. but still mother, there is no AC in the kitchen generally, but still they cook. And in winter, sometime back in India, there is no hot water. People used to just take bath in the well or the cold showers. So these are inconvenience unavoidable. We just experience. We just these are dvandvas. We should not give too much attention to it. Just move on, right? So again, Lord Chaitanya took sannyas at the age of 24 for the greater good of the world, renouncing wife and mother, very young wife and mother, right? Yeah. So for a greater duty, it's not an example for most of us. We don't need to, this is not the example for us. Similarly, Arjuna fight with Bhishma and others, though it is difficult, one should fight because it is because of the rules of scripture. Right? Yeah, one should tolerate. The scripture is Bhagavad Gita, this verse, right? Yeah. So when one performs duties, prescribed duties, one will attain jnana, knowledge, and that will lead to liberation from illusion. Yeah. It's in the same continuous, theme 2.14 and 15. So 15 says, okay, first 14 says tolerate urges, tolerate the dualities. And 15 says focus on higher goal of liberation and overcome dualities of happiness and distress by tolerance. Yeah. But so when you tolerate the dualities, the real purpose is so that you can focus on the higher goal of liberation. Yam hina vyatayantyate. Anybody? Yam hina vyatayanti yanchete.
Yam hi na vyatiyannante
Purusham purusharshava.
Purusham Purusharshaba
Samadukha sukham dhiram.
Samadukha Sukham Dhiram
Somritatvaya kalpate.
Somatrattaya Kalpate.
Yeah. Yeah. So, O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Yeah. So, through practice of spiritual life, the way we are, the process that was given to all of us in the Gaudiya Siddhanta, right? So when we are study, through the experience of these dualities of life, right, happiness and distress, that is sufficient qualification for one to get liberated. So as we, as we progress in our spiritual life, one should become completely agnostic to these dualities, experience of dualities due to material disturbances. Yeah. So it's in the same theme, right? So in the purport, we can read actually. Let's read the purport itself. Anyone who is steady in his determination for the advanced stage of spiritual realization and can equally tolerate the onslaughts of distress and happiness is certainly a person eligible for liberation. Right? So how we can tolerate these disturbances? Like we were discussing before, in answer to Shashwat's question. In fact, the real tolerance comes when we develop higher taste. Until then, it is just tolerance. After that, it is not tolerance, it is natural state. You are not disturbed, no matter what, because you are experiencing higher connection, deeper connection to Krishna. Right? When you are in direct, constant touch with Krishna, right? At the advanced stage of spiritual life, these material dualities do not really bother you, even though they may cause disturbances at the bodily level. They are not at all your concern, because your consciousness is at a very high level. See, in the I think we already, yeah, okay. So in the Varnashrama institution, the fourth stage of life, namely the renounced order, is a painstaking situation. But one who is serious about making his life perfect surely adopts the sannyasa order of life in spite of all difficulties. The difficulties usually arise from having to sever family relationships to give up the connection of wife and children. But if anyone is able to tolerate such difficulties, surely his path of self-realization is complete. Yeah? So similarly, in Arjuna's discharge of duties as a Kshatriya, he is advised to persevere, even if it is difficult to fight with his family members or belo- similarly beloved persons. Lord Chaitanya took sannyas at the age of 24, and his dependent young wife as well as old mother has no one else to look after them, but Krishna took care of them nicely. Yet, for a higher cause, he took sannyas and was steady in discharge of higher duties. That is the way of achieving liberation from material bondage. Yeah. That's all. These two are very, practical verses, especially the first one, because we all experience dualities in this world by performance of sincere sadhana, uh, by understanding that these are impermanent, and not focusing too much of our energy in the dualities of this world, we will become qualified to achieve liberation. So that's all for today. Any questions? Thank you all for joining today. Very well. If not, we'll meet next week in the class. Okay. Thank you all very much for joining today. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Next.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.